There comes a moment in your life when you look at everything you're doing, the work, the effort, the prayers, the late nights, the hope, and you still feel like something is holding your rizq back. You feel like there's an invisible wall you can't see but you keep bumping into. You feel like blessings are close but not reaching you. You feel like something is silently blocking what Allah has already written for you. And deep down, it's not because Allah doesn't want to give you more. It's because something in your life, something in your habits, something in your heart is quietly pushing your own blessings away. What if the doors you're begging Allah to open are already open but you're standing in the wrong place? What if the rizq you're praying for is already written but your heart is not ready to receive it? What if your future isn't delayed, it's simply waiting for you to remove the barriers you don't even know you created? Today you're going to discover the 6 silent mistakes that block your rizq without you realizing it. And once you fix them, your life will begin to open in ways you never imagined. Because when Allah decides to give, nothing can stop it except the walls we build with our own hands. When you ignore the opportunities Allah already sent. Many people ask Allah for more rizq, more income, more opportunities, more success, yet they walk past the small blessings Allah has already placed in their life. Sometimes Allah gives you a tiny opening, a simple chance, a small job, a small skill, or a small starting point, and you don't take it seriously because it doesn't look big enough. You think this can't change anything, or this is too small to matter, so you ignore it. But the truth is, Allah often hides your biggest growth inside something that looks small at the beginning. A small skill can become your future income. A small idea can become your biggest project. A small job can introduce you to the right person. A small opportunity can lead to a door you never imagined. Allah tests your appreciation with something small before He trusts you with something big. When you constantly wait for a huge miracle or a massive breakthrough, you silently reject the barakah that is wrapped inside something simple. You close the door with your own attitude without realizing it. Barakah doesn't grow in a heart that always looks for more, but it grows beautifully in a heart that appreciates what is already there. When you value the little things, Allah expands them. When you honor a small doorway, Allah turns it into a hallway of opportunities. But when you ignore the door He already opened, why would a new door appear? Sometimes the small chance you are overlooking is the exact thing Allah wants you to use to build your future. Sometimes that simple step is the first chapter of a blessing you've been praying for. And sometimes the slow beginning is the protection you need before a fast rise. Allah never wastes an opportunity. He created, but sometimes we waste it because we expect it to look bigger. The moment you start valuing what Allah already placed in your hands, you will see new doors opening one after another. When you attach your rizq to people instead of Allah, sometimes your rizq gets blocked without you noticing. And one of the biggest reasons is when your heart quietly starts believing that a human being is the one taking care of your livelihood. You may not say it out loud, but inside your heart you start thinking, if this person leaves, I will lose everything. Or if this job ends, my life will collapse. Or if this boss dislikes me, my income is finished. This hidden fear becomes a veil between you and the one who actually provides for you. A boss does not write your rizq. A company does not write your rizq. Your business partner, your clients, your friends, none of them write your rizq. They are only means. They are only channels Allah temporarily uses to send provision to you. Rizq never comes from people, it only passes through them. When your heart becomes attached to a person, Allah protects you by removing the barakah that was coming through that person. Not to harm you, but to remind you that your future is not in anybody's hands except His. If you depend on people more than Allah, He gently closes that door so your heart returns to its true protector. But when you detach and place your trust back into Allah, everything changes. The fear disappears. The tightness in your chest softens. Your mind becomes calmer. Suddenly new ideas come. New paths appear. New ease flows into your life. Allah begins to send your rizq from directions you never even thought about, through someone you didn't expect, through an opportunity you didn't see before, through a skill you forgot you had. People come and go, companies rise and fall, situations change overnight. But Allah never changes, and as long as your heart is tied to Him, your rizq will never be lost. When you rely on people, you feel anxious. When you rely on Allah, you feel secure, and security itself is a form of rizq. The moment you stop believing that anyone else controls your future, Allah opens a new future for you. When your tongue works against the dua of your heart, there are times when your hands are working for rizq, your heart is making dua for rizq, but your tongue is quietly destroying the very blessings you are asking for. People think rizq is blocked only by lack of effort, but they forget that the tongue is one of the strongest forces that shapes a person's provision. Your tongue can either open doors or close them. Every careless word becomes a barrier between you and the rizq you are begging Allah for. Sometimes it's not big sins that block blessings, sometimes it's the everyday words you don't even think about. Speaking too fast, speaking without intention, saying things you don't mean, making promises you never fulfill, complaining without realizing how much it affects your heart, talking about others, using negative words about your own life, saying, I can't, I'm unlucky, nothing works for me, my life won't improve. Your tongue is like a mirror of your inner world, and Allah gives rizq to the hearts that speak with sincerity, calmness, and honesty. When your tongue is uncontrolled, your blessings slip away the same way a cup with a crack cannot hold water. When your tongue becomes pure and disciplined, blessings stay longer, grow stronger, and reach you faster. Sometimes people make dua for a better job but complain about the job they already have. They make dua for ease but speak words full of negativity. They pray for success but use their tongue in a way that brings darkness to their own path. They ask Allah for barakah but use their speech in a way that removes it. Your tongue and your dua must move in the same direction. If you are praying for something, but your speech goes against the thing you're praying for, you create a silent conflict inside yourself. Your heart asks Allah to open a door, while your tongue keeps closing it again and again. Even simple words matter. A single sentence can create hope or destroy it. A gentle comment can attract blessings. A harsh one can push them away. Allah honors people whose words are respectful, honest, gentle, and thoughtful. Your rizq becomes brighter when your speech becomes cleaner. Your path becomes clearer when your tongue becomes calmer. Your dua becomes stronger when your words stop fighting against it. When you speak with intention, when you avoid unnecessary talk, when you use words that bring light instead of darkness, Allah fills your life with barakah in ways you never expected. The tongue is small, but it is powerful. It can destroy a blessing or bring one. And when it finally aligns with your heart, your rizq begins to flow with a peace you can feel. When your emotions make decisions before your wisdom does. Sometimes your rizq doesn't get blocked because you're not trying hard. It gets blocked because your emotions take control at the wrong moment. Most people don't realize how many blessings they lose simply because they react too quickly, too strongly, or without thinking. A single emotional reaction can push away a huge opportunity. When anger speaks before wisdom, you may walk away from something that was meant to grow you. When fear becomes louder than trust in Allah, you stop yourself from trying things that Allah already wrote for you. When impatience becomes your habit, you rush into decisions that damage your future instead of protecting it. When sadness or frustration blinds your judgment, you miss chances that were right in front of you. Rizq is not only about effort, it is deeply connected to your ability to make calm, wise, steady decisions. People don't realize that emotional reactions can cause more loss than a lack of money or a lack of work. For example, you might get angry and quit your job without a plan. You might get scared and turn down something beneficial. You might get jealous and ruin a relationship that could have helped you. You might get upset and stop trying altogether. In those moments, it's not the situation blocking your rizq, it's your own reaction. Allah rewards the one who stays calm enough to think clearly. A calm heart sees what an emotional heart cannot see. A calm heart notices opportunities. A calm heart recognizes the difference between a test and a trap. A calm heart moves with tawakkul, not panic. Even the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us that strength is not in how hard you hit, but how much control you have when your emotions rise. That same control protects your rizq. When you pause before reacting, you open space for Allah to guide you. When you breathe before speaking, you allow wisdom to replace regret. When you slow down your emotions, you speed up your blessings. Sometimes the rizq Allah wrote for you is already on its way, but your emotional reaction becomes the wall that blocks it. The moment you start choosing calmness, patience, and trust in Allah over quick reactions, your life starts to open again. Ideas come, clarity comes, new paths appear, barakah grows. When your emotions stop deciding for you, your rizq starts growing for you. When your environment slowly drains your barakah. There are moments in life when you feel like you're doing everything right, but something still feels heavy. You feel stuck, unmotivated, confused, or spiritually low, and you don't know why. One of the quietest reasons this happens is the environment you stay in. Your surroundings affect your rizq more than you realize. Barakah is gentle. It cannot survive in a place where the atmosphere is polluted. If the people around you constantly complain, you will start seeing your life through their sadness. If they gossip, your heart becomes restless even if you're silent. If they waste time, you slowly lose your own focus. If they mock spirituality, your iman becomes weaker without you noticing. If they speak with negativity, your dreams start shrinking inside you. You don't feel the damage immediately, it happens slowly, silently, softly. It is like a plant growing in the wrong soil. It's not that the plant is weak, it's that the environment doesn't allow it to reach its full beauty. Your rizq works the same way. A negative environment drains your motivation, your clarity, your inspiration, and even your connection with Allah. You start doubting yourself. You feel tired with no reason. You feel confused even when you're trying hard. Your mind becomes heavy and your heart becomes unsure. This heaviness pushes opportunities away because you can't recognize them clearly anymore. Sometimes you think you have a rizq problem, but you actually have an environment problem. When you sit with people who speak with hope, your heart feels lighter. When you sit with people who are grateful, you start seeing blessings you didn't notice. When you sit with people who care about Allah, your iman rises without effort. When you sit with people who inspire you, your mind becomes sharper and your ideas grow. This is not magic, it is the spiritual rule of barakah. Allah places barakah in atmospheres that honor Him, and He removes barakah from places where He is forgotten. You might not be able to change the entire environment around you, but you can protect your heart from it. Sometimes all it takes is spending more time alone with Allah, or reducing your time with people who drain your soul, or filling your ears with good reminders instead of empty noise. When you begin choosing the right environment, even your face changes, your thoughts change, your decisions change, and your rizq starts flowing again because barakah finally has space to breathe around you. Your environment is not just background, it is part of your provision. Protect it, and Allah will protect your rizq. When you don't expect Allah to surprise you with rizq, there is a silent block that many people never notice. They make dua for rizq, they ask Allah for better days, they pray for ease, but deep inside they don't actually expect anything to change. Their tongue says, Ya Allah, help me, but their heart whispers, nothing will happen. This hidden hopelessness becomes a wall between you and the blessings Allah already wrote for your life. Allah listens to every dua, even the ones you are too tired to say out loud. But your belief, your expectation is what opens the door for those du'as to reach you. When the heart expects nothing, it receives nothing. Sometimes you feel stuck for so long that you convince yourself that this is your life forever. You start thinking that your destiny is small, that your story is already over, that nothing new can happen for you. This mindset quietly blocks your rizq because you no longer believe in Allah's power to rewrite your situation in a second. Allah can give you something today that you didn't have for 10 years. Allah can send a person, an idea, an opportunity, or a door that changes everything. Allah can solve a problem in one moment that you couldn't solve in months. Allah can bring a blessing into your life from a direction you never even looked at. But you have to expect that He can. Your expectation is a form of worship. It shows Allah that you trust His timing, His wisdom, and His ability to surprise you. When you expect Allah to open doors, you start walking differently. Your heart feels lighter. Your mind becomes clearer. You notice opportunities that you were blind to before. You take action with confidence instead of fear. You move with hope instead of doubt. And Allah loves a hopeful heart. When you think good of Allah, He gives you goodness. When you believe He can change your life, He begins changing it. When you trust that He has written something beautiful for you, He brings it closer. Rizq does not only depend on effort, it also depends on the way your heart speaks to Allah. If your heart is filled with fear, the world feels small. But when your heart is filled with hope in Allah, the world becomes full of possibilities. The moment you start expecting Allah to surprise you, your rizq begins to shift. doors open, paths appear, blessings move toward you, and life becomes lighter because you finally believe that the one who controls everything can give you more than you ever imagined. Allah never said make effort and doubt me. He said make effort and trust me. My dear brothers and sisters, Rizq is not only about how much you work or how many hours you spend chasing success. Rizq is shaped by your heart, your expectations, your environment, your reactions, and the small choices you make every day. These are things no one sees, but Allah sees them all. And He responds to the quiet parts of your heart more than the loud parts of your life. When you fix what is inside, Allah fixes what is around you. When you clean your intentions, Allah cleans your path. When you return to Him with trust, Allah returns to you with doors you didn't even know existed. Maybe you've been feeling stuck. Maybe your life feels slow. Maybe your dua feels heavy. Maybe your future looks unclear. But none of this means you are forgotten. None of this means your risk is small. None of this means your story won't change. Sometimes Allah delays your rizq because He is protecting you. Sometimes He restricts it because He wants to guide your heart back to Him. Sometimes He slows it down so you can grow before the blessing arrives. And sometimes Allah is preparing something so beautiful that if He gave it to you earlier, you wouldn't have been ready to hold it. Your rizq is written. It can never be stolen. It can never be taken by anyone else. What is meant for you will always find you, but the barakah inside it depends on your closeness to Allah. So breathe, trust His timing, walk with hope, expect beautiful things from the one who gives without limit. Fix the hidden barriers inside you and watch how Allah expands your life in ways that don't even make sense. Watch how the right people appear. Watch how the right ideas come. Watch how the right doors open. Watch how relief enters your heart softly, gently, quietly. May Allah fill your rizq with light, bless your income, open your destiny, protect you from loss, guide your heart, and grant you a life full of barakah, peace, and ease. Amen.